All right. Welcome back. Some housekeeping news. If you guys were not here earlier, I just want to share again that tonight's opening reception is going to be 6:30 downstairs, first level, outside the Elite Hall. If you still haven't registered or picked up your badge, the registration is kind of like just a little past the entrance way. So if you can be there at 6:30, that would be great. And I guess we can kind of begin. This is the Business Pitch Showcase. It's our kind of version or twist on the show Shark Tank. And for us, it's just a way to kind of present the industry or the participants with, I guess, some needed advice based on how to fit their brand into an airport setting. And on the panelists on the stage we have tonight, just a good variety of folks who can provide different viewpoints and maybe even suggestions on how to possibly improve or fit the brand into the airport setting. So let me introduce the panel right now. First is Ms. Suzanne Merrell, the Senior Manager of Food and Beverage for Toronto Pearson International. Welcome, Suzanne. And you know her, Elizabeth Grzechowiak, the Assistant Director of Concessions and Business Development for Minneapolis-St International. The one and only Mr. Bill Casey, Senior VP for Food and Beverage for Paradies Lagardère. Vito Buscemi, the VP of Brands and Concepts for Delaware North. And it's also worth noting that Bill and Vito, although they have food backgrounds, they represent companies who also do a good significant amount of retail. And finally is our sponsor, Ms. Kathleen Schafer from Mission Yogurt. And she has a great viewpoint from her position in terms of being a small business. They have operations in Denver, San Jose, and San Diego. Is that right, Kathleen? Correct. All right, awesome. And in addition to that, not only are they operators within the airport, but they also have a couple of street-side locations, a restaurant, I believe.
Yes, we have one location in Denver, Colorado, that we own and operate our own proprietary concept called Que Bueno Suerte.
Awesome. So next time you're in Denver, you can also try out that cuisine. So the first person to present, if you are from an area code 305, where I have been, you can appreciate the cuisine that he's about to present. I'd like to introduce Carlos, who's expecting to broaden the category of Latin cuisine with his concept, Sergio's.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carlos Gazatua, and I'm here representing Sergio's Cuban. Our fast casual concept derives from 3 generations of proven homemade recipes. We've been in business for over 40 years in South Florida. In fact, if you think of Cuban food, you have to think of Sergio's. Our food has been recognized by local and national news. Recently, our food was featured on the Cooking Channel with New Orleans' hometown favorite, Emeril Lagasse. We've also been featured on Cheap Eats with Alec Khan, as well on the Cooking Channel. In fact, when Emeril Lagasse tried some of the coffee we just gave to the panelists, you know the words he used, right? Bam. That's exactly right. Because it will keep you awake. This past month, we were featured on the national news, Travel and Leisure magazine, as the best bites representing the whole state of Florida. And our empanadas that were featured will be served on booth 4016. When the presentation opens downstairs after 7. We've also been featured on Telemundo, Noticias, as one of the largest global Latin American channels in the world, owned by NBC Universal. And we're featured for our healthy menu, which is called La Flaca, which talks about the opportunities to eat healthy Cuban food. So why are we here today? Well, it seems that everyone is talking Cuban. Cuban was on the news last year in almost every channel, and Cuban is now open up to the American demographic and market. Magazines like Thrillist has already named Cuban sandwiches and coffee as top choices for the American consumer. In fact, Restaurant Business News this past month did a survey that 38% of consumers would be interested in purchasing Cuban sandwiches. That's a big, big demographic that says that they're interested in our sandwiches. So what's so special about Cuba? Geographically, Cuba is a segue to the Americas. It bridges flavors from the Caribbean and Latin America. And it has universally acceptable, bold, yet balanced flavor profile. From sweet plantains, which is very grown in Costa Rica to Latin America, to black beans, that is Latin America, but Chipotle already taught us all how to eat rice and beans, to yuca and spices that are not that spicy, but provide a great profile, just like chimichurri. The airports understand that they must continually search for cuisine that satisfies millennials' needs. Millennial and Generation X, from 18 to 49-year-olds, will make up 75% of the workforce by 2025. That's less than 9 years. So what do millennials want? They want variety, diverse flavors. They want food that's adventurous, food that's expressive. They want experiences. They eat smaller meals throughout the day, such as snacks and coffee. They view their likes on social media to represent their social status. They want to be co-creators of a brand. Because see, for millennials and Generation X, customization of food is a need, not a luxury. And brands must continue to adapt to that to meet their demands. There is a lack of ethnic, universally accepted choices today in the airports. The Latin population is the largest growing ethnic food group of travelers in the United States. These facts are leading to a huge opportunity for airport and concessionaires to pick concepts that meet this growing, diverse demand for food. Sergio's Cuban addresses these needs and provides a solution. Our concept incorporates 4 day parts: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and anytime snacks with coffee. Bowls are customizable and provide bold and diverse flavors, as you can see down in the presentation. Bowls have a healthier, lighter alternative as well. Our La Flaca menu, which is part of a healthy menu, provides the opportunity to eat lighter. Because at the end of the day, millennials and generation know that food represents who you are. We have endorsers like Daniel Leyva, the #1 U.S. Olympic athlete, silver medalist, that happened recently in Brazil. We have the #1 CrossFitter in the United States, Sean the Ram Ramirez, who are all endorsers of our brand that come to eat at our restaurants. Because again, they know that they want the ethnic food, they want the bold flavors, but they want food that can represent themselves. Our sandwiches are worthy of likes to help anyone's social status. We started off as a sandwich shop. It's part of our DNA, from our Cuban sandwich that's won awards in South Florida to our pork sandwich on Cuban bread. Our sandwiches can compete with any brand that's dealing with sandwiches. Our coffee complements unique expressionism. We also have great breakfast. We have great breakfast and empanadas. As I indicated, we're featured on Travel Channel. Now, many people get confused when you talk about snacks. When people think about snacks, they think of the peanuts that you get at the airport. Or you see many concepts changing fries and calling it snacks. But that's not what millennials want. Millennials want unique snacks, something that's complementary to what they want, which is culinary intuition, culinary innovation. For example, there's a big time difference between getting an empanada with sweet plantains and beef and a coffee that's a specialty coffee and taking that to go than to getting the peanuts as a snack. So concepts continually must adapt to that and provide that uniqueness for the millennial travelers. So as you can see through the rendering, the photo is where people can go down the line and pick their base, their protein, their sides, and saucing it up. This prevents bottlenecks for airports, which has been important for us, and focusing on speed. I want to emphasize that the adaptability of our brand as well. Concessionaires more and more are looking for flexibility in design. flexibility to adapt to spaces. Because we have 4 day part, we can individually divide our concepts for just coffee and pastries, sandwiches, or bowls, giving the concessionaire ultimate flexibility. Our concept from a big picture, if you never tried Cuban food, think of it as a Latin Chipotle, Latin Starbucks, and a Latin Chipotle, all mixed together as one. And here we go again, choosing from your base to your protein to 2 sides, and you can sauce it up. Our specialty coffee is going to get you to 0 to 60, and some people as fast as someone's Tesla. I like to think that if Elon Musk had Cuban coffee, we would probably all be having flying cars right now. Our next slide shows our sandwiches, from our Cuban sandwich to a 305 sandwich to a Latin double cheeseburger, which has chorizo in it, making it unique than the regular traditional burger. Our pan con bistec, also known as a Cuban cheesesteak, provides the flexibility to be different. With our thin grilled steak, onions, tomatoes, and string fries, we've won awards for that as well. And then obviously the snack component, which is our baked pastries and croquetas and empanadas, has won a travel and leisure magazine awards. We also have our La Flaca brand, which is her right there, Lola La Flaca, and she kind of tells you how she would eat to eat healthier in the concept, which provides kind of like a dummy way proof for people to understand how to eat healthy in our brand. So how do we know we have the right solution? Well, we're in the Fort Lauderdale airport. And currently we're doing over $2.7 million in less than 800 square feet. That equates to about $3,375 per square foot. And our director of Fort Lauderdale, Jasmine Govin's right here, and she can attest to the success of our brand. But Carlos, what are you getting international travelers? Because that's who's buying your product. That's a good question. And the question is, no. Our terminal clientele is traveling as Southwest Airlines, a budget-conscious airline. Travelers are traveling primarily from the Midwest to the Northeast. No international travelers, yet we're the highest grossing continuing per year in growth in sales. In addition, our concept was just recently opened up in the AAA arena, increasing sales by 20% compared to their last concepts, when the American Airline Arena is down due to Dwayne Wade leaving and LeBron James, yet our concept keeps going up. So we provide an opportunity to do food, and this is what I leave our panelists as some questions, is how does Sergio's Cuban or ethnic food concepts like ours continue to get our name out to directors and concessionaires to take advantage of the opportunity that we see for the needs of the new millennial travelers traveling through the airports? Thank you.
I think the first question that would come back from us, being another country for you, in terms of expansion and looking at where you're going, would be, what is your strategy around keeping the energy, the diversity, the authenticity of everything you're trying to bring from, and I'll take the Miami, Fort Lauderdale Cuban market. Cuban food is fantastic. Toronto is a hub of international flavors and cuisines, everything's accepted. But how do you take for your brand, how are you going to bring that energy and the authenticity as you move it further afield? Our whole thing, as everyone knows with an airport, is efficiencies and ensuring that you've got all your systems in place. So our big questions will be not around your fabulous product, it will be, how do you make this viable and rock solid when you bring it to us in the market?
Very good question. I mean, I know one thing that we do have that we're unique in, that we have our own production plant. We're one of the few concepts that we have our own commissary. So all our products get seasoned and cut. We have our own production plants. We have 650 employees in our company. So we built the infrastructure that we can grow and be scalable and make it dummy-proof for concessionaires, which is very important as they look for labor, efficiency, consistency in product, and ensuring that if I do go to Toronto or Vancouver, we can use our product line distributions through our main suppliers, and ensuring you'll get the exact same quality product everywhere you go. The only thing you have to focus on is continuing training on the energy and support of your brand.
Excellent. Well, we had an opportunity to meet last year, and I really love your concept, and you have a lot of enthusiasm and passion, and I think helping airports understand how much diversity can drive revenue. And I think the number that we heard when we were working with our consultants is that if you took a food court area, for instance, and you offered a diverse brand that did not exist previously, you see an increase of up to 30%. And that's a fantastic story because we're all looking to drive revenue, of course. I think it's very much on trend. This is the type of cuisine that I would be drawn to. I wouldn't change much about your brand. Your marketing materials are fantastic. And the quality and integrity seems to be there. It's a story that you're telling about the millennial traveler that is going to be very important to tell into the future. As we look at the landscape of how QSR changes, in my previous job prior to coming to the airports, I worked in quick serve Asian, fast casual. And I would sit in food courts and study them because prior to that, I had exclusively only been in full service dining. And I would try to understand, what drives the sales for these individual brands and what about the cuisine is driving these sales. And it always seemed that the healthiest concept would be the slowest concept in that food court setting. And so I think that because you have so much flavor there and it's not focused exclusively on salads, it's on trend with the uptick of, the Asian noodle bowl and the build your own. It's hard to get Chipotle into an airport setting, and so this seems to be a great way to be able to provide something similar in context, but also have a lot of flavor. And I hope you have a lot of success because I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Ramon will give you $500,000 for 10%. This isn't really like Shark Tank? No, sorry. I think there are certain airports that would make a lot of sense. It's, developer airports, it's less likely that you need to bring in just local brands. It's a tough sell to go to a lot of airports and say, I have this great South Florida concept that I want to bring in. But I think how successful it is in Fort Lauderdale, and the more millennials that travel, I pay for 2 of them to travel in my family, that as you gain success, there'll be more opportunities in airports. The other way, if you have a commissary that big, is there a way we can, through retail or grab and go, that we can introduce it into some of our food and beverage grab and go units and heat it up to be able to get the name out that way. So I think it's a great product. I remember it from Miami. Great presentation.
Yeah, I would say that, one of the strong selling points is having great brand attributes to sell, to bring forward. What do you think one of the strongest brand attributes is for your concept, the best story that you tell?
So the best crossover from a marketing perspective has been the Cuban sandwich and also our coffee. So we've seen that there's always stages in every concept when you're in ethnic food, is what gets the person to the first step, to then learn about your concept to the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time. And so what we've seen in our experience is the coffee, the empanadas are something that continues to drive people very easy oriented for the airports in particular. We're seeing a lot of people that are grabbing a bunch of empanadas and taking it to the next destination for people to eat at home, which is kind of unique. We have, so it's the portability, the coffee. No one has our coffee that we're doing, the Cuban coffee specialty. And then kind of like the sandwiches is kind of like, I think it's the first segue, and then the second segue will be like the bowls, the rice, the beans, and stuff like that, because that's an easy jump. And then the third step would be if you're continuing to adapt something else. Does that answer your question? Kind of like on the marketing side. If I'm marketing it, that's how we market it, and uniqueness.
Okay, thank you.
Great job, Carlos. It's obvious how passionate you are about the brand, and that coffee, I'm finding it hard to sit still. I agree with the BAM phrase. I think the best thing, and to kind of go back to your question, I think identifying your competition, and Chipotle has been thrown out a couple times. So really identifying what you're doing differently, who your biggest competition is, and how you can set yourself apart to continue to carry that passion and find a way to take that to as many customers as possible throughout airports.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So the next to present will be Megan Langston and Jason Voss. They have a goal to combine what seems to be a description of contradictions, healthy and fast. They are with Lifestyle Foods. Guys.
So we are a healthy, fresh grab and grow product and food company, Lifestyle Foods. We have been around since 2005. We started out as a salad company and since then had grown into breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks in between. Health convenience, this is a word that we had come up with. I think it's a good way that kind of describes who we are and what our product is. It's healthy and it's convenient. So all of our products across the board are 400 calories or less. You'll also see in the corner there where it says 360, next to it is a symbol system. So all of our products are labeled whether they're high in protein, low in sodium, vegetarian, or vegan. The consumer can easily see and grab accordingly to their needs. As well as all of our products are 18 grams of fat or less. So the consumer can always stay within whatever their nutritional needs are. Okay, and it's kind of hard to see here, but all of our products come ready to go. So whether that means it's an entree and it requires a utensil, or if it's a sandwich and it requires a spreader, the consumer can just easily grab the product and go on their way, and they have everything that they need in there. We also have a blacklist. This is, we call an unacceptable ingredient list. It's ever evolving, it's always changing. As the trends change, we change with the trends. So we have around 40 SKUs, again, breakfast, all rounding up the day from breakfast, lunch, dinner, salads, snacks in between. So 5 categories there. And everything is produced to order, so this is what I think also makes us very unique. We are able to consistently get a long-lasting shelf life by producing each item to order. And that shelf life is a 10-day shelf life by the time it's in the consumer's hands, so, or the purchaser's hands. And we're able to do that a few different ways. One of the ways in particular that I love is that we have in each item, like let's say a salad, everything would be compartmentalized. So if you didn't want, carrots, or you didn't want specific items that the salad came with, it wouldn't be touching the ingredients so that it stays fresh, and you can also build almost a salad to yourself, or to your liking. So we found that this is great for companies, and it reduces waste, so companies aren't having to throw out their items that they did not use. It reduces labor, since we are making it at our plant. And we're USD approved and military approved, inspected, so it reduces any risks that could potentially happen at a commissary, since ours is already to grab and go.
So when you move into new markets, do you is the plan then to set up commissaries in each of the markets that you go to? Because I'm assuming if you're somewhere centralized, in terms of shipping, when you're looking at international export, that kind of thing. So I know that there's a shelf life on them, but how do you ensure that freshness is sort of across, so if we're talking across North America, are you working out of one commissary and then shipping, or are you looking at doing multiple commissaries around?
We're currently in one commissary.
Okay. Yeah. And so shipment, so explain a little more about the days. So you say 10 days once it's in the consumer's hands. How long in terms of shipment, stocking, all of those components are built into that?
Yeah.
So basically everything is made to order, and it depends on the transit time. So we can ship actually as far west as Denver, and as far south as Florida, and as far north as Maine, and everywhere kind of pretty much in between. But the shipping, the transit time dictates that. But the way we've managed to do that, we in just about every instance, we're able to give the 10-day shelf life to all those places. So,
How many SKUs do you have? How many products? How many different products do you have?
We have 40 different SKUs total.
I'm really impressed by the shelf life. That's really critical when you're looking at product cost. I feel like the packaging that we're looking at here doesn't represent or tell the story that your very clever word, health convenience, does. I really like that idea. When I look at grab and goes currently at airports, I see protein as one of the big trends. So you see all the little packs. You got the hard-boiled eggs, you got the protein snacks, you got the hummus. And you have a fantastic product here that goes above and beyond just the Sabra hummus pack. And I think it's very clever. I think you need to work on your branding somewhat to tell that story in a much stronger way. And I think that you could have a real opportunity here, even, you know, at this conference, to be able to leverage some relationships with people. I'm assuming that you're looking to be a supplier and that
Correct.
you're, okay.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that you've got some really great ideas, because when I look at grab and goes today, they're missing some pizzazz, and they're missing an opportunity to tell a stronger story about healthy access.
Thank you.
So have you thought about going into more sustainable packaging? I mean, you have such a great story to tell that if you brought it to the next step and next level and went to a sustainable packaging, because there's many airports that's what they're requiring now. We have airports that's all we do. We have sustainable plates. We use bamboo. And I know that's going to affect the pricing, and that was kind of a follow-up question. So what is your suggested?
It's a great question. We get asked that quite a bit. The current packaging is recyclable, number one, plastic. We've researched the fiberboard plastic, but with our process, we're applying heat to the seal. So we've not found the fiberboard industry has not come up with the technology that allows us to apply heat to it. And that's one of the main reasons we have not gone that direction yet.
Okay, and the 10-day shelf life is good. It's also, you know, a lot of us advertise and press how fresh our products are. We have competitors that have much longer shelf lives, like a 30-day for hard-boiled egg, which we don't have, and I assume Vito's the same way. So I know we have shipping, we need to get it there. As you grow, is the idea to have other commissaries regionally, so it's, you know, even though we say it stays fresh 10 days, I mean, if we could keep it to less than that, I think that's a big selling tool.
Yeah, thank you. We have currently one facility, and we're able to supply pretty much east of the Rockies. And our next step is for the West Coast to be able to supply all the West Coast markets. Okay, eventually.
How have your sales been thus far, and where are you sitting price point wise?
So the retails currently go from $3.99 to $7.99, depending on the product, based on cost and ingredients.
And sales thus far for your company?
As far as what we're selling to what type, like each customer, or?
Correct.
I'd say our average weekly sales volume per account would be roughly $1,000, depending on the location.
And where have you seen the biggest success in sell-through?
As far as industries, this is a brand new industry to us, so that we've never really targeted this market before. Primarily, all of our current accounts are in the vending industry, higher education, and healthcare.
Again, and so maybe that's the next step, is really price point and the sensitivity. That's going to be the biggest thing as you look to venture into the airport industry, is where you're going to sit price point wise, and being on the distribution side, what your customers will be able to make profit wise selling your product.
So what are you asking? What the markup is? Is that what you mean by that, or?
Essentially, just something to think about as you continue to
absolutely.
What's your
push
food
through.
cost, right? What's your
Yes.
cost of goods?
I'm sorry, what was your
Roughly your cost of goods for your
cost
selling
of
price.
goods, roughly 50 to 60% markup is how we've been measured in other accounts. So the retailer would mark it up in that range.
And it's a wholesale model only, right? You don't license and operate your own locations, or you?
We don't currently, no. We're targeting the retail outlets within the venues that we serve.
And how do you keep the bread and the proteins, the meats, fresh for 10 days?
Well, it's a technology called modified atmosphere. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of that, but basically we inject nitrogen and CO2 into all the different packages, and then we have the film is actually designed that has microscopic holes on the film that allows the product to stay fresh and breathe. And there's different film structures based on the ingredients inside.
How do you, it seems like you gotta have issues with trying to keep up with 45 SKUs that you have, of products that you have, and that they're all shipped and they're not produced close or locally. That seems like it's got to be a problem if you're selling out of items, and what's the turnaround time to restock and reload items back up on the shelves?
So at minimum, we're able to deliver to all of our accounts 1 day a week, sometimes 2. And the way it's designed, the product would last until that next delivery is received.
Yeah, they'll last that long, but what if they sell out?
Depending on the volume, we can accommodate an additional day delivery based on what the customer's needs are.
How long is the shipping?
A week?
I'm sorry?
It's a week.
Do you do overnight shipping?
We actually use LTL carriers, but we've been able to figure out a system where we're able to get product to Florida and Texas in 48 hours, depending on the location.
One suggestion maybe would be to try to do a focus on children's snacks and brand them accordingly. You know, I have young children traveling through the airport. It would be great to give them something convenient and healthy that's not a Lunchable, full of preservatives and high in fat, and to be able to give them fresh food that's, you know, not an $8 fruit cup.
Right. No, it's a great idea.
In all of your markets, so you have vending, healthcare, do you have one market that does a certain level of sales or has a greater level of success than others, or where have you found your biggest niche to date?
It's currently in the vending industry, and if you're familiar with the term micro markets, basically they have a little convenience store within businesses for the most part, and they're self-operating, check yourself out and everything. So that's the largest growth segment we've experienced so far.
How much trouble do you have with the hot seal? Sorry, or with the seal opening up. Do you have troubles with that?
I mean, it happens occasionally, depending on if it's dropped or there's damage. Typically, if there's an issue, we hear back from the customer and we ask for pictures and try to figure out how we can give credit if there's an issue.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Liz, you said something earlier when Carlos was presenting that I guess his concept was great, not necessarily because it's superior to some of the healthier options like the salads, which can tend to be slow. This obviously presents something of a healthier option. Does that still apply to something like this that would be slow, or does the grab and go convenience aspect kind of overtake that?
Well, grab and go is a really important segment of sales. I mean, we're integrating grab and goes into all of our full service restaurants, and it's hard for everybody to really nail that, especially if you're working with local chefs coming from the community who have never had to work with food that needs to be able to hold. It's not easy to make a sandwich that can sit in a cooler for 2 days, or to think about, you know, they're so focused on getting food out of the kitchen immediately into the hands of the customers. And, you know, moisture and preservatives and all these elements that are not something that are part of the daily experience of a made-to-order kitchen need to be thoughtfully integrated, representing the brand within the grab and go. And so this might be a nice element for people to be able to align with somebody that's really focused on that commissary type of production to be able to provide healthy food.
Now, Kathleen, you guys operate, obviously, Mission Yogurt, one of the, I guess, the most profitable Einsteins. So you're familiar with a lot of the grab-and-go options. And as a small business, does this kind of have a lot of merit for business such as yourself?
Yeah, I think the key is really travelers are wanting to look for options and things that appeal to them. And what we were talking about, though, is really being able to meet the demands in terms of distribution and being able to supply on a timely basis. And that's the biggest thing about the airport industry, is knowing what's going to sell, when, and where, and being able to fulfill those needs.
And honestly, you should really consider what Liz had suggested about the kids' snacks, because children and Bill Casey will buy that stuff. Just consider that. All right. Thank you for that. Next, we'll be continuing on the healthy trend. Next is Ty Mangold of Rome Fitness, who will want you to exercise in an airport. Ty?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ty Manigold. I'm with Rome Fitness. I've been coming to these conferences for a couple of years now, and I feel like every presentation someone gets up and says millennials, millennials, millennials. So I am a millennial. I've said it. This is what a millennial looks like. We walk the same. We do have a couple different preferences in what we spend our money on. We love to spend it on experiences, not so much products. And that is kind of what Rome Fitness is about. So traveling, right, it's moments of boredom, stress, anxiety, and travelers these days are now asking for healthy outlets when they get to the airport, right? We just saw that with our last two presenters, healthy food, healthy options. And individuals are looking for physical outlets, how they can stay healthy while traveling at the airport. There's even a website called airportgyms.com, which directs you to your closest gym at your airport, whether or not they rent clothes, whether or not there's a taxi service, or there's Uber or Lyft that can get you there. But right now, nothing in the terminal behind security. Toronto does have their Good Life Fitness, which is fantastic that you're up here. There we go. So as we see, airports are starting to adapt to this new demand. We see free use yoga rooms. San Francisco, Philadelphia had stationary bikes in some of their terminals a couple years ago. These are getting great reviews on all the media blogs, but none of them are staffed. They don't have any ancillary services, and none of them are marketized. And that's where Rome Fitness comes in. We're bringing a healthy, refreshing experience to the airport environment because we believe travel days don't mean you have to compromise your health. We've been at this for about 3 years now. Part of that was in the early days. We went out, we interviewed about 500 people across the world. We found that there was an 80% plus interest rate in using a quote-unquote airport gym. We also then asked them, when would they use that airport gym? Right? We weren't surprised to see 92% said, yeah, on a layover. We actually know how long of a layover that needs to be. We were very pleasantly surprised to see that almost 50% said that they want to use it before their first flight, and in fact will arrive even earlier than they normally do to take advantage of that. So we're able to voluntarily increase the time that passengers come to your airport, which we all know is the longer time they spend at the airport, the more revenue is generated. Also, 1 out of 5 said they want to use it after their destination flight, especially on the East Coast. It's international travelers and red-eye flights who get in. It's 5 in the morning, 8 in the morning. They can't go to their hotel yet. They just want to freshen up before they go on to their next meeting. There we go. Benefits to passengers, right? There's the clearly obvious. We are providing something that is healthy, an outlet for them to stay active. Benefits to airport staff can use it as well. We're increasing, like I said, that voluntary time that individuals spend at the airport. The service is also available. Benefits to airlines. This is a risk mitigation strategy that they can utilize when their flights are delayed, as well as other concessionaires. This can help with some of their staff. And then also benefits to TSA. As I had mentioned, we're able to increase or bring them in earlier and keep them there longer so that the ebb and flow of the throughput during TSA gates goes down a little bit. So what's actually in our locations? Part of that survey looked into it. We found the most demanded thing was cardio space, followed by showers. We provide a towel service along with bath products. We carry Mullen and Getz bath products. We have a stretching space that's dedicated and isolated off for that. There's free weights. We also carry healthy food from both local and national providers. We have free Wi-Fi and flight display boards. And then we also carry running shoes and athletic apparel. Our running shoe partner is with Brooks Running, and we are the one and only authorized retailer of Lululemon. So if you want to sell that in your airport, we're the company to work with on that. If you don't want to purchase that, we include that as a rental, and that comes included with your membership. Our customers, mainly the millennial and Gen X business traveler. We also have interest from leisure travelers. We have airport and airline staff who are asking if they can get access to this. Of course, the answer is yes, and we work with them on those rates. And then we have corporate accounts. We have companies who have their frequently traveling employees who want to offer this as a membership benefit to them. And in fact, they're rewarded from an insurance perspective by offering proactive services like ours. Along these same lines, we see that about 30 to 35% of U.S. employments are currently identifying as millennial and younger Gen X business travelers. This was a recent article in the New York Times about hotels that are designing themselves specifically around fitness and offering that as the selling factor to bring in a new market. Along those lines, Amex released a study recently entitled The Healthy Traveler. According to the new survey, more than 7 out of 10 frequent U.S. business travelers say they drink extra water, 48% stretch on the plane, and almost half use the gym at the hotel. That is your target market. That is your customer, and we are providing a service that they are looking for when they book that next room. So why not look for it when they book their next flight that comes through your airport? There we go. So how do you access our facilities? Day, month, and year passes priced at $25, $100, and $350 respectively. These are lower than the comparables when you take a look at other lounge services that are out there, and well in line with what the younger generation wants to spend and is looking to offer. Our first location, we are very pleased to say that we just opened up the first Rome Fitness spot at Baltimore Airport about 5 weeks ago. We're in the new DE connector. We're open from 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. We've had about 120 visitors in our first 5 weeks, which we've been happy with considering nothing else is open around us right now, and it was just February, which we all know is usually the worst month for travel days. And about half of our revenue right now has come from from access passes, and then the other half has been through our retail sales. Some images of the location. Access to the facilities includes, once again, whether it's a day, month, or year pass. They do work at all of our locations, so as we expand that annual pass, that day pass is not just for that one spot. It works at any of the spots. We have charging cubbies within our facility, so you can store your carry-on. They all have USB ports and outlets in them, so you can charge everything up. Like I mentioned, we have a full lineup of Lululemon retail as well. Our bathrooms, this was tied in terms of preference with our cardio, and so we have individuals coming in who are a little bit outside of our target market who just want the shower aspect of it. We've also had a couple celebrities come on in the last couple weeks. On the left is Justin Forsett. He's a Denver Bronco, and on the right is Twitch. If any of you are familiar with him, he's the DJ on the Ellen Show. Both of them pulled up their phones. They live casted us on their social media accounts. There's about 1.5 million followers who saw that. We've also been in the news a lot in the last 6 months. We've been on the New York Times, Washington Post, Condé Nast Traveler, Shape Magazine, Women's Health, Bravo TV. Jimmy Fallon did a shout out about us. Apex had us, USA Today, About.com. Total in the last 6 months, about 350 different newspaper clippings, which all mentioned Baltimore Airport as well. And about 839 million unique visitors have seen our highlights. We'll be featured in an upcoming article on The Points Guy, if any of you follow his blog, and we're working right now with NBC Nightly News to do a special on Rome Fitness. Any of these? There we go. Partnerships. We're very pleased to say that we just signed a deal with Priority Pass, so now any Priority Pass member will be able to access our facility at a special rate. That'll be announced in their MasterCard offering with the Platinum Series. We're also working with Amex Corporate Travel, where I actually have a call tomorrow with the Baltimore Ravens. We've had a lot of sports team approach us and said they're interested in getting access to this, as well as our users very excited to find out that this is going to be where their favorite sport teams are working out when they're traveling. We are in conversations with several hotels, larger gyms, and insurance companies of coupling our services with theirs. So now, once again, when you're looking to book that next flight and that next business trip and you're deciding what hotel to stay at, if it comes with the free use of the airport gym, there's a lot of incentive there. And as such, we're seeing a lot of plays down the road that we can get incorporated into to help us launch at that faster rate. Our team, myself and my co-founder met getting our MBAs and where we thought of the idea. We also have phenomenal management experience. Deborah Regan has been a leader in the fitness industry. And then from there we go, some advisors. Some of you in the room might be very familiar with George Sandoval. He's been helping us throughout this process. He was very helpful and instrumental with ExpressBall when they first started. We're happy to have him on the team. Michael Crook is another individual we've been working with. He's the former CEO of Patagonia and Kelty. So from a brand development standpoint, he's been helping us continue to grow along those lines. At that point in time, I'd like to open up to any questions you might have.
My first one, you've obviously got really great relationship development. You've got strong branding on there, and some, I mean, end to end, it sounds like a really well thought of component process. First question I'm going to ask is there a reason you will only go post-security? So for airports that have inline space challenges, which some have great expanses, some don't, is there a reason the model can't work for you pre-security?
It can work pre-security, it can work landside if it's in conjunction with another airside location. In part of our research and a lot of our market development, we found that at the end of the day, our value proposition is reducing stress and anxiety. right? And that's going to benefit the airport by translating into increased sales for the other concessionaires. And so part of that is getting them through security. Our target market, unlike Toronto Pearson's, which has 4,000, the Good Life Fitness there has 4,000 users a month, but 80–90% are airport staff because they can go back and forth with their badge. Almost all of our users are passengers, and they want to get through that security checkpoint.
This is really promising. I think that in business development, this is probably one of the most frequent calls we get because it's people having that constant idea and reiterating it and coming back, and nobody really has a solid business plan, and they don't know how to monetize it in the airport world. And so they have this idea and they think it's a good one, but they don't understand the complications of doing business inside of an airport post-security. Some ideas or thoughts that I would have for you is, obviously we are there to drive revenue, and we're not going to get revenue levels from this idea in prime real estate the way that we would with food and beverage and retail. And so how do you go into an airport and take, degrade real estate, but still be able to market that to the airport without having to invest a ton of money into a monthly campaign? So go ahead.
Yeah, great question. Right, we're not going to be able to compete with QSRs out there. We just won't bring in the same revenue dollars. And so from an airport's perspective, how does this translate back into it? And this really comes down to that huge chunk of our flyers who say they want to arrive earlier than they normally do at the airport. It's the frequent traveler who's got TSA pre and every other service out there, and they right now are just going straight through security right to their gate, and they're not making a single transaction. They're saying they will use us, come early, and then they will result in a secondary transaction for the airport. So in terms of convincing the airport that this is within their best interest, it's not just direct revenue through us, but it is with an increase in locations nearby that they'll see it.
Yeah, in your conversations with airports, I would ask them, where in your vision or mission does this concept align? Mm-hmm. And what amenities do you currently not have that we could encompass and provide? For instance, we at MSP, we don't have a shower. And this is a very non-glamorous comment, but what if there's somebody that has an accident? Well, we're not being able to provide a passenger service to them. And so that's a customer experience amenity that we would be looking to provide that you could align your concept with that, may help in achieving some more affordable rental rates.
Yep.
I would say that for the price point that you're selling it, the ultimate finish of what I see here in this brochure, I would look for something a little bit more high-end if you're going to be building that customer monthly pass experience. It's a little bit stark in its presentation, so trying to find some elements that correlate with that trend of health and calming, relaxing space. So just invest a little bit of money there. And one last thought that I had was great job with the priority pass. I would maybe engage common use lounges here in the States and ask them about their growth models and what were their break points that allowed for them to become profitable and what are hard lessons they learned, because I think you might be building a similar business case here with this concept.
Thank you.
I guess I ultimately see this as an airport employee benefit. You're in a tough spot in BWI. I'm pretty familiar with, that's where I started. So you're in D&E and the passengers are over in Southwest, so you're on the wrong side of the airport. So it's the chicken and the egg. So you need to be in another airport to be able to prove that there's a value add to concessions program. I think it's a great idea, but I would do it at a hotel before I would do it at an airport. I wouldn't get up earlier to go, but that's just me.
Yeah, I wonder what your financials work and it's successful, what is your competitive advantage that you have over someone else just coming in and doing this on their own, another concessionaire or the airport or whoever it is, that the retailers to come in and do this type of model? I mean, what makes you guys unique?
Yeah, part of it comes down to first mover advantage, right? We all know that leases take forever to get in an airport. And we've been working at this for 3 years, and we have a couple other ones lined up that we're ready to go into. We also have all the corresponding partnerships that you need. So if you want to offer clothing rental, which is going to be a needed service, those take a long time to set up with that other provider. All the ancillary services that we currently have are going to take a long time for another competitor to create. It doesn't mean another competitor isn't going to be interested, but it's not going to be for a couple of years. And from a game theory standpoint, actually, the possibility of a merger down the road is much more probable.
Thank you.
Great presentation, and you've obviously done your homework and research, and I think one of the things that stood out to me the most was the statistic about the passengers would take advantage of this on a layover. So I think that's definitely, hopefully, part of your strategy, looking at those airports that have significant connecting traffic, and ones that maybe have snowstorms or thunderstorms in the summer. Denver International Airport.
Yep.
Definitely.
Great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next will be part that we couldn't be more appropriate since we're in New Orleans. And it is courtesy of Julie Price of Life Support. She's here to help you recover from a hangover, increase your energy, get you healthy, and help you recover from a hangover.
I know, it's very fitting that I follow two people who are just doing healthy lifestyles. But I guess a question I have for all of you, if you just want to raise your hand, how many people have ever flown hungover before? I know I have. How many people, when you're in an airport or on an airplane, have an alcoholic drink? I know I do. This is tricky, right? Where do we aim over here? All right. So what it is flying hungover is no secret. It happens a lot. So does alcohol consumption on airplanes and in airports. These are kind of an eye chart right here, but these are some studies that goes to show Guest Logic has shown about 58% of all onboard sales are wine, alcohol, or liquor on a flight. Even Las Vegas Airport has a medical clinic and pharmacy pre-security that offers a hangover solution with an IV and some vitamins. The International Air Transportation Association has reported over 8,000 incidents of unruly behavior, and most of those are resulting from intoxication of passengers. So we all know when we're talking about the long layovers, instead of working out, there's a lot of people that just go to the bar and start drinking on those long layovers, which results in they can't get onto their flights because they're too drunk. And even if you sit in your table right now and Google tips for flying hungover, you're going to find thousands of articles, blogs, all sorts of stuff will appear. So this is a known problem. So to talk to you a little bit about hangovers, I learned this when I started with the company, but the world's largest alcohol by consumption country in the whole world is South Korea. So in South Korea right now, this is a $165 million market. And I'll explain in a minute why I'm talking about South Korea. They have about 6 SKUs available in all stores if you go there. And all of their products metabolize alcohol at a fast rate based on ingredient that they are using. In the United States, we kind of have mass for hangovers. I know I've drinking Pedialyte before I started with this company. There's Blowfish, there's alcohol seltzer has morning relief. A lot of people just drink Gatorade. And the reason I'm talking about South Korea is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of our company. So about in 2012, how this started was a bunch of college students that decided to take a trip to South Korea because they had a friend who was from South Korea. When they got there, of course, they partook in the alcohol consumption and had themselves a hangover. And their buddy said, have no fear here. As I said, there's about 6 different products in South Korea at a shelf at any time. And the main key ingredient in that product is an ingredient called Havinia dulcis. It's an old Asian medicine, a Japanese raisin tree fruit extract that I'll tell you about in a little bit. So what these guys did is they came back to Columbus, we're a Columbus-based Ohio company, and they re-engineered the same product. They actually got the exclusive rights, the patent for Havinia dulcis to be used in a drink form in the United States. So we're the only company that can do that. So if anyone has ever heard of the name Cheryl Krieger, her success was with a company known as Cheryl's Cookies. So if you're from the Midwest, especially Ohio, you're probably familiar. Or if any of you go on to buy your significant other flowers or gifts, you're probably always going to get asked if you want to add a cookie to your gift basket. So that is Cheryl's Cookies. Quite a while ago, she sold off her company to 1-800-Flowers and made quite a bit of money, but now she is our founder and our main source behind our company, so we're proud to be women-owned business. So the one great thing about our product is we are backed by science. Like I said, this Japanese raisin tree, Havinia dulcis, we have the exclusive ingredients. So any of our other competitors you'll see out there are not using this, what I call our special ingredient. UCLA has done studies, University of London has done studies on this ingredient. There is nothing else known to mankind that metabolizes alcohol at a fast rate than Hivini dulcis. UCLA study actually shown by having this extract, you will decrease alcohol consumption by 97% in about 112 minutes. So that's the secret ingredient to our product. In addition to Hivini dulcis, we also have vitamin B, vitamin C, those ingredients that are shown there as well. So we have two different products, and I know our panelists have both products up here right now. We have a blue label and a red label as kind of what we refer to. The blue label is meant to be taken, you can take it at any time really, while drinking or before bed. We all know that sometimes when you're having a little too much fun, you're not going to remember to take your blue label. So that's why we just came out in the last year with the red label product, which is meant for when you wake up the morning after with a hangover. The difference between the products is blue label is apple flavor. The red label is berry flavor and has caffeine within it. Basically, you can drink it at any time, but those are the suggested ways to use them. Like I said, we use all natural ingredients as well, no fake colorings, dyes, anything in our products. So why is life support great for airports? Well, first of all, as I said, it's no secret. A lot of people show up hungover. A lot of people are drinking in airports, or a lot of people are drinking on flights and get off. So if they're looking, to head to a meeting, or they have to be somewhere and they have to curb that alcohol consumption, or they just want to feel better from a hangover, this is where we can offer a lot of support. Plus, it is a great margin add-on sale. Like we said, we've all been talking about millennials, all that kind of stuff. They want to experience stuff, and they're willing to pay more money for a product that they consider innovative. And another good thing is I showed on here is life support, especially the blue label, can also be served in cocktails. Basically, anytime anyone is drinking this product, it's going to help metabolize the alcohol and protect your liver. So if a bartender's out there and somebody has a long layover and they can serve them a life support cocktail, then that's going to be able to help them not get as drunk fast and be able to drink more, which is more money for you guys. A great thing about us is trade marketing too. We do social media support, so any of our customers that come on board, we have about 12,000 locations across the United States right now. We are not in any airports right now, and this is my first time at the conference, so that's why I'm here today to hopefully form some relationships and see if we have an opportunity. But what we do is geo-targeting market, so if a customer comes on board, let's say we have an airport, you guys would be on our product locator, we would be targeting on Facebook, social media, with your logos, directing people to go to your location instead of directing people to come to our site. So basically, if anyone has any questions, could you guys see this being a great fit sold in airport? And then if so, just so you guys are aware right now that we are working with S&S brokers in airports, and Core-Mark and many other distributors could sell life support to any airport.
Yeah. Don't tell my wife, but I'm thinking of giving it a test run tonight.
Yeah. And for all you guys too, we are at booth 5018, so definitely come see me tonight, and I have samples of both to give out.
Make it sound like drinking in an airport's a bad thing, first of all. And I want to get in the South Korea market, if that's truly what happens as far as alcohol sales. I think it is. I think I saw 7-Eleven. We operate 4 7-Elevens, 3 in Dallas and 1 in LA. Might be something we want to test there.
Hey, we are actually we have a partnership with 7-Eleven. That's probably our only national partnership, about half the 7-Elevens in the country right now.
So we could test it in our 7-Elevens.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think the college campuses could be a good spot for these selling.
Except I don't remember getting hungover when I was in college. It happens a little later.
What is the retail on these?
Oh, price to retail right now is $3.99 a bottle.
Per bottle.
So obviously, as in airports, you guys can always sell things for a little bit more than that.
Yeah, it might be aggressive to come home with the whole briefcase, huh? Right? You're on a mission.
Yeah, that's a good value you got right there.
I would say from the retail end, but it would be an absolute. In terms of marketing in restaurants, I'll be honest, drinking in an airport is not a bad thing, but airlines are very sensitive about an over-service, especially in the Canadian market. So we might have a problem with, we're going to serve you to the point of needing it. However, I'd say if we have it available in all of those ancillary retail units next door to our restaurants.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, with consumption of it, it's easy an add-on sale. It's more, I picture it more sometimes like grab-and-go locations at the airports too, but if you had it on the on-premise establishments and airports, it's an easy add-on sale at the end. If somebody's had a little too many to drink, they can drink one of those before boarding the flight, and within 112 minutes, it's going to cut the alcohol consumption by 97%.
Yeah, I think using it as a mixer in liquor probably be frowned upon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
How do the drinks taste with it mixed in? Have you tried them?
Yeah, actually, my favorite there is a, it's more, what do I like, mimosa. I like to drink them. So the morning after, use the red one mixed with a little bit of orange juice and champagne.
Yeah.
The recovery shot tastes exactly like a vitamin C packet.
Did you try it?
Yeah, I
Oh,
tried
yeah.
both of them.
She's like, I drank both of them.
How did they work, Liz?
I'll let you know. I'm not going to lie. I could have used this morning. I really wish I would have known about that.
So yeah, tomorrow morning too, if any of you guys show up hungover, I will be there at breakfast
I drank
too,
a bottle
so
of
come and
tequila. I
visit.
feel great, right? So you can't tell.
I think it's a pretty easy product to get into an airport. I think, beverage sales are insane, and the growth and development of energy drinks and the way that market has boomed, and now, craft drinks and the sodas, and watching these success stories is astounding. It makes me want to get into that line of business. I think with this type of product that you're talking about toting a health benefit, you need to somehow be able to substantiate that in order to get consumer buy-in. And I'm not getting that visually from the aesthetic of the packaging. Mine was broken and leaking inside of here, so obviously you want to be able to address that because airports run lean models and they have very little support space internally, so you need to make sure you have a really concise, cleaned up product. And maybe some type of money-back guarantee because it is something that you're introducing that's new.
They actually do on the web. People write in.
So maybe just tell that story right
Okay.
here, because that's something that would speak to me as a consumer. And you definitely want to understand the caffeine levels, because that's something I'm always really reluctant. 190 milligrams, I think that equates 2 cups of coffee, but telling somebody that correlation to coffee so that they're not freaked out about, is this going to be a 5-hour energy drink and I'm going to be high?
No, that's helpful. Thank you. All right. Any more? All right. I hope to see you guys all tonight.
So Liz is gonna have that pumped into her like intravenously, basically. Just a little life support pack. That's the next thing, right?
Is an IV drip feasible?
All right. I'll introduce Ryan Smolkin of Smokes Patinery. He's gonna come here and tell you about his badass concept.
Nice intro. Let's do it. Yeah! Yes, you guys ready? Fire it up, fire it up, fire it up, fire it up, fire it up. Okay, question. Who knows what poutine is? Oh my God, I don't have enough hats. There you go. And how many have heard of Smokes Poutinery? Nice. Did anything come behind me, anyone? Oh, you even get some too? You've heard of it, right? Okay, you got one. You may have heard of it.
The occasional.
Canadian iconic dish. Ooh. That's what it's all about, and that's what I'm here to present to you today, a little bit about who we are, what Smokes Poutinery is all about. And nobody showed me how to use this, so I'm going to guess. Is it an arrow?
To the right.
Good guess. So who am I? I am Ryan Smolkin, the founder of Smokes Poutinery. That's overstated. It says that on my business card, but Smoke is the true founder, the visionary. He gave me the idea. He said, Ryan, it's time. Poutine has been around since the mid-50s. Let's put everything you can think of on top of the poutine. Create a whole new food category, poutinery, and take it to the world. And I said, okay, Smoke, I'll do that for you, man. It's time. I'm an entrepreneur my whole life. This probably will be slow, but I've had property development companies. That's how I started. That's actually when I was in university. Started building some properties when I was a kid. I think I'm still a kid now. But blew that out of proportion. Sold off all the properties back in early 2000. Got into There we go. Amoeba Corp, a branding and design company. If you couldn't tell, I'm all about brand, a little bit about branding and design. Sold that off in 2007 to a large ad agency when branding was the big buzzword and it was the hottest time in the market. And then got into Smokes Poutineery. And I don't say this building these multi-unit, 3 multi-million-dollar companies, so I'm bragging. It's not to pat myself on the back. It's to give everybody the understanding that I know how to build businesses. I create successful businesses, and I can take it to the world. That's what we're talking. I'm not a chef, but I love food. I've never been in a kitchen in my life before I started this puppy, so anybody can do it. Franchised across Canada already, so I've convinced some people that they can be a restaurant owner. And hard work, common sense, and surrounding yourself with the right people, and got a couple of those people with me today that know the industry now. I started this puppy up on my own, but now I've built that over time, and now we're going for the global empire. Slow. Slow. So, what is Smokes Poutineery? What is Smokes Poutineery to you? I've given you some hints. What is it? Delicious. Mark, you got some extra hats there? Start throwing around some hats. Anything else? What's Smokes Poutineery? A poutineery. She's just looking for an easy second hat. Don't give her one.
Another cure for a hangover.
Yes, bang, bam, bang, whoa. Second half for that one. It is a hangover.
That's some competition.
Cure, that's what it's about. You're all right. I wouldn't have kicked any of you off stage if you answered it wrong. So you're a shy group, I can tell. But it is a restaurant. It's the 4 walls. It's the retail. It's now getting into all the mobile and truck business. That's exploded for us, and now in all the non-traditional channels. So that's the arenas, it's the stadiums, it's the getting into a lot of the resorts, getting into a lot of campuses, right on campus, all the colleges, blowing out all the records across the board. But now, looking to get into the airports. What better way to take over the world but by flying to everywhere in the world? It is about the poutine, it's about the product, but it's what we do to the poutine. Like I said, loading everything on top of it, double smoked bacon, chipotle pulled pork, caramelized onions, all on top of fries, curd, and gravy. It's beautiful, it's gargantuan, it's love in a box. Some people say heart attack in a box, and I say yes! That is what it is. But it's bigger than that. It's about the brand, and we've talked about that. This is what the consumer is looking about today. It's beyond product. Like I said, anybody can cook the fries, the curd, and the gravy. And it's about the experience. And that's what this is all about. It's about experience. And hopefully this music video works for us. Turn that up. Turn it up. It's Nothing But a Good Time by Poison. This is what it's all about. You work hard, you play hard every day. You gotta earn it, love it, enjoy it. That's what it's all about. Ooh, yeah! It does start with the fries, the golden fries going down, the cheese curd that goes on top of it, the piping hot gravy to warm it up, and that's the beauty of it. But again, like I said, it's the double smoked bacon, the chipotle pulled pork. It's creating a love. There it is, Nacho Grande in a box. And now we're the toast of the whole senior world. We got it all across every franchise mag in all the country. All the hype, all the glitz, all the accolades, cover stories. That's what it's all about. I'm always working, slaving every day. Gotta get a break from the same old, same old. I need a chance just to get away. This is what you have to feel and believe it. This is what it's all about. Don't need nothing but a good time. And how many people are going to be able to get on air, getting the hosts of top shows, eating their poutine live on air? Those are the hosts of a national show, mowing it down in front of millions. That's what it's all about. This is the end result, getting the happy consumer, the kids. But bigger than that, it's blowing it out of life. Have you heard of the World Poutine Eating Championship? I created it. I own it. It's worldwide. 20,000 people at Yonge Dundas Square in Toronto. 10 minutes of all-you-can-eat poutine. 25.5 pounds of poutine. in 10 minutes. That's what it's about. Now franchised across the world. That's where we're going. That's what Smokes is all about. But a good time. You gotta feel it.
Should give him one.
You gotta feel it. Tough crowd, but you're feeling it. Come on. That's Berkeley, California, the Green State. 1,300 people through in the first day. You see, I raise a toast to all of us who are breaking our backs every day. You're working hard, you want some fun. If only good life is such a crime. Load and put me away, yeah. Here's to you. And that's real gravy being dumped on them. Yes, it is. That's experience. That's fun. You know you're dying to do the air guitar. I'll go on BNN. I'll go there in character. You don't dial it down. You have some fun. That's what makes those people happy. Crave it, want it, needing more of it.
You don't think you've died and gone to Canada?
Guitar. And now I usually have a bigger stage, a little pyrotechnics, so you gotta feel this one. You ready? It's the explosions all around us. It's bigger than life. It's going out of control. It's taking over the world. And it's just setting the simple goal of where next. How about every airport in the world? That's where's next. Come on, give me some. Every airport in the world. We set the bar low just for global domination since day one. Thank you, New Orleans! I love you all! Finally, you got me charged up a bit. Yes! All right, I'm done. Questions? Okay, a couple more slides, couple more slides. A couple more, don't worry. I'll lead a bit.
Bring it on.
This is the story of a little man who started from nothing but an idea given to him by smoke, the ultimate power, the ultimate being. And now, 7 years, 150 locations across Canada, and yes, south of the border. Yes, in the US. Yes, for global domination. And where are the airports? That's what we have to convince ourselves today. So it started, like I said, 7 years ago, created a simple little food category, poutineery. Never existed before. So I'm selling at that point off a concept, an idea. Never existed. I said, let's try it downtown Toronto. Plan to go national. It'll never work. It'll never get going, Ryan. Guess what? It exploded. Then 10 and 10, I said, that was my second year, 2010. I'm going to do 10 and 10, 10 and 10, 10 and 10. Guess what? We did it. Why not double in size to 20 in 2011? I'll give you one guess. Did I do it?
Oh, yeah.
We did it, done it, crushed it. Then doubled to 40, then 60, 80, 100, and now 150. Underscored there because it's way more than that as of just a week ago. And that surpassed our goal already for this year. Retail, mobile, non-trad markets, like I already said. Started in retail. Got the mobile catering service going after that. And now the non-traditional is what's the exponential explosion over the past 2 years. Over 80 units in 2 years. Like I said, campuses, stadiums, arenas, amusement parks. And now, airports. I wish I had 150 hats. It's a smart group. Did it all through events, social, and PR. That's how I can compete with all the big boys out there. This is me. This is all out of this little pocket here. And I can show you a lot more. I cut it all back, but insane amounts of PR, social, and events. That's what drives our business, and that's what gets us the traffic at your place. And simply going into the sports and entertainment, like I said, officially now its own company, Smokes Poutineery, Sports and Entertainment, just because it sounds cool. But we're better to entertain than at the
airport.
Yes! We're catching on. And now global domination. Simple thing I've said since I opened my first location. Global domination, global domination. 1,300 locations in the next 5 years. Do you think I'm gonna do it?
Probably.
Did it done it gonna be done with the help of the airports? I need you. I used to say get on board the gravy train. Well, now it's get on board the gravy plane. And now just a few little tidbits I'll show you. This is some of the locations under the sports and entertainment umbrella. A whole bunch of them, just flashing up a few you might recognize. You'll see some in the US and Canada. And you'll see one pop up in the middle there, Toronto Pearson. And then a couple more just examples in the arena, since that's where we're just crushing it. This is MLSE, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. So that's the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Toronto Raptors, the Toronto Marlies, and the Toronto FC in 3 stadiums. We have 3 at BMO Fields. That's a truck at one of the end zones there. We have 3 at BMO Field. We are building the second one at the ACC in the top left, and then in the bottom. That's my very first one that I built with my own hands. I built that puppy 5 years ago to get sports and entertainment going. I built that little puppy. Now we have 3 locations. That's with the Toronto Marlies. The Ottawa Senators, 2 locations there. Number 1 and number 2 vendor in the entire stadium. Still rocking the CTC. Oh, don't want to show you that one. You know that guy. Still rocking it at the CTC, Canadian Tire Center, branding at its best. Tom Anselmi, CEO, President of the Ottawa Senators, and I'm putting these up here because I will open the book to anybody you want to talk to, the CEOs that are contacting me. These guys get it. These guys understand it, the brand fit. Next, the Tampa Bay Lightning with Delaware North. You didn't even know that, did you, brother? Boom!
Doing myself.
Number 1 in the stadium. I don't know if you know Steve Griggs, CEO, President of Tampa Bay Lightning. Again, wearing our shirt. How many people are out there? How many CEOs do you see wearing their branded shirt and pumped up? Saying, I love it, Ryan, thanks for making us part of your global domination. I want a jacket. It's the Arizona Coyotes, opening night with over 15,000 in the building. We did 5,700 poutine. Last night, with only half the attendance in the building, we still did 5,100 poutine. Wow, Ryan, have I ever told you you're a genius? You know why I put that one in there now? That's, again, Anthony LeBlanc, owner, president of the Arizona Coyotes. These are top dogs, know what they're doing. They know how to build brands. And the best part about it, they put us in what they called the Canadiana corner beside Tim Hortons, so we could get maybe some spill off of each other. There's my spill off of Tim Hortons right there. If you look closely on the right, they're both holding poutine boxes. And then just a few buzzwords to play on the minds of everything we are and everything I ever heard asked by every airport I have listened to. Every single one of these is what smoked poutinery is all about. And then the simple end goal of global domination. That's it. Now, I usually have my whole hyped up, which I should have done, Crazy Nights by Kiss with all the media. I can sing it if you want, but I open to the panel and to the audience any questions of why we are now going to conquer every airport in the world. 2.
For those of you who know Canadians as shy and reserved, meet Ryan. I'm just going to lead with, as a brand, I think you've put the critics to rest a while ago, as in Putin's a fad, it's never going to last. It's lasting, and it's selling, and it's growing. It's a compact unit. It has a good footprint because I've seen it in multiple ways. Again, I think my big piece would be, because there's longer shelf life and commitment, as you know, in the airport, and just in terms of that infrastructure, You're partnering and branding, ensuring that your brand and what it is, that energy, everything that Smokes is, how is that going to maintain as you globally dominate?
Yeah, that's bang on. It's that support mechanism, surrounding yourself with the right people and getting the people on board at Smokes Poutineery that believe in the concept and understand it ain't about pumping out fries, curd, and gravy. And that's now my personal oath. Like, that's why I'm going around now. Like, when I say, like, I started this puppy, I was one big. I've now got, 30 people on the staff. They can do the checks and balances. I was doing negotiations of all the leases, all the sales, all the support. I was doing everything from square one. Now I can step back and be the brand ambassador. It's now Chief Branding Officer. That's what it's all about, Chief Entertainment Officer. So that's my mandate. And it's the toughest part, you're right. But as shelving life and all that, we do everything fresh, like the hand cutting of the fries fresh on site. Everything else is so streamlined now. That's how we can do, 800, 1,000 units in a stadium, which used to do, 100, 200 units. So that's the easy picking. That's going from the start, even picking at the low-hanging fruit. It's not 20, 30% increase. I'm talking 400, 500% increase in sales. And then beer sales all around me in like the arenas. Like, it's insane what we're doing. Not 20, 30 points, and we have that mastered now. It's a system. It's taken a while, but it's a system mastered.
How many units do you have south of the border in the U.S.?
I have 5 built. We have another 50 sold. 2 more being built and launched in the next 4 weeks. I have a great group in Michigan. They have the whole account team. They have 10 units, and it's going to be opening up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, right across from the campus. Right. And then they've already got down East Lansing and Detroit. Then we're also in LA. We're in Berkeley, California. We're in Tampa, Arizona, Vegas. So we're going coast to coast.
Where's the 50 that you have on the books? Is there a clump, or is it spread out all over?
So far, it's in multiple clumps. It's multi-area development deals that we're doing all over the place. So, and that's by choice, because we did single units in Canada when we started. Now we're going multi-units in Canada, coast to coast. And then going to the U.S. south of the border, it's going to area development, so by state or states. And then we're going to be going international on multi-unit. On a larger scale. But the area development deals that we're doing are either by state or states. Large concentration around the whole perimeter, like the smiley face under the Great Lakes, the whole East Coast, the West Coast, and then across the bottom. So now we're just coming into the center.
Where's the LA location?
What's that, sorry?
LA? Where is that?
Oh, right downtown.
Staples Center area?
No, it's not even near the stadium. That's downtown, right in the heart of the entertainment district, and going for late night. That our core demographic at the retail is your downtown urban core, 18 to 24, nightlife. It's a midnight to 4 a.m. food. Like, that's why I can't wait to get into Colorado, where the munchies are all over everybody.
Where is your...
To you.
Yes. Where is your number 1 grossing unit? And how much in sales are you doing at that particular unit?
Outside the 4-wall, or like in the non-trad?
In the non-traditional.
In the non-traditional, we're breaking like millions, and that's out of stadiums that are doing 60, 80 events a year, let alone 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's going to be killer what we'll be doing there, but we're already doing in the millions in smaller venues and retail. So it's going to be sick what we do.
Have you ever considered a full service component to it with alcohol sales?
Bang on. For the airports, we want alcohol sales going with it, 100%. And we have the alcohol sales going at the stadiums that we're in, not on the campuses, but at the stadiums, and 100% hit the beer sales, and we're going at the airports, because it is beer and poutine go together, hand in hand. So it's anticipating even another question that might happen. It's like it's international, it's galactic, man. Like you can load whatever you want to on top of this puppy. That's how you even get more of the customization and regionalization of it. It's fries, curd, and gravy. You can put anything you want to on top of it, and you can make it whatever you want. The classic dishes of the areas, of the state, of the city, of the region. So,
yeah, something to consider as you keep working on your global domination and airports, but sometimes you see full service models come up with a quick service element to get into airports, but here, kind of the flip side, I think the experience, I don't know if I've been at a rock concert or a business pitch right now, but taking that and developing it into a full service model might be a strategy to explore.
100%. Yeah, and that's what the retail are. They're full service, but we don't do the alcohol at them because we go to 4 a.m. because we are the hangover cure. We want to get them as they're filing out of the bars at 2 a.m. and get them until 4 a.m. for the hangover. So that's why we don't license most, I should say, of my retail. I do have a few that are getting licensed up, but it's full service at the retail. But now we've been able to come up with the shrunk down version for the non-trad. So that's what we're pumped, and we're talking 200, 300 square feet. So your revenues per square foot are just ridiculous. Or plop one of our food trucks, faked up food truck, right in the middle of your dead space. Add a few $1 million to your top line revenue. Boom! Everyone's happy.
Do you have to blanch the potatoes, or you cut them starch free? No?
Yeah, we cut them hand cut on site. You blanch them on site.
Them?
Yep, and it's all fresh on site. But that's been since day one. And yes, they do it in Tampa. So your guys there, they're doing it.
Just checking.
They better be at least.
I love you. You're my spirit animal for the remaining of the conference. I wish I could act like you, but my boss would get mad at me. From an airport perspective, I have to make sure that we're serving all day parts. We have very limited square footage to work with, and we've got long concourses. And we only have, one restaurant opportunity to service how many gates? How are you going to answer the breakfast segment when a third of volume is going out before breakfast?
You mean the all-day breakfast that we just launched? Is that what you mean?
It's very Tell me about it.
I didn't anticipate that one. Well, the next slide, please. Actually, we've always had the breakfast concoction, and at Pearson, even with our other products, you have scrambled eggs, bacon, and our maple syrup. You can have poached eggs on top, so eggs Benedict poutine. I mean, anything you can think of, we put on top. And that's getting past that mentality, because like I said, everybody in the world is eating loaded fries, even here in New Orleans. Even got, what you guys are calling it here, it's a messed up poutine. And every city we go to, everywhere you go, there's a different term for the loaded fries, but it's fries, call them home fries. It's your gravy, it's the eggs that you're putting on top of it, it's your bacon, it's your sausage, anything goes on top of it. And that's why we do have the breakfast components. And the beauty part of our success is all the day parts. Because we do the breakfast, we can do the lunch, big at lunch, huge at dinner, but then it's that late night day part in our retail, but we can hit that coming off the plane too. Not just going on the plane, the portability, taking it on, it's coming off the puppy, grabbing it and go. So all the day parts, that's where our success has come from.
Couple things. First of all, I like the fact that your hat matches my socks.
I noticed that from down there, brother.
And yours. I might add. Very nice. Secondly, I have the pleasure of spending a lot of time with a beautiful 4-year-old granddaughter who I think starts with Cuban coffee in the 2 of these, and you have way more energy than she ever will. So very entertaining. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It is nice to hear you talk, though, in a more tempered manner, because you're clearly very sophisticated when it comes to business. And so it was wonderful to see the dynamic nature of your passion and enthusiasm for a very, very clever brand, but then also to see a side of you that knows business.
Thank you very much. You got to play both roles, right? It's all about the brand. You got to build the brand, or no one's going to follow you. So thank you very much.
I know. Thank you.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. That concludes the sessions for today. Remember, at 6:30, we'll be down at the Lead Hall for the opening reception, and I'll see you until then.